Alright, hello friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Our Life, Beginnings and Always. Not gonna lie to you, I just finished playing a scary part in a video game, and so I'm using this as a way to calm myself down and chill out before bed. So, with that being said, let's see what this late shift is. What are we doing? Hi, I wasn't expecting to see you first thing. After lunch, she ran into Baxter. He was more than happy for an impromptu hangout in your neighborhood. He idly spoke about the first time he bought a shirt online. Apparently, the website hadn't been in English, so he had to make do with automatic online translations. His unique fashion sense was eclectic in more ways than one. Finding out how he filled out his wardrobe answered some of your questions about his look. He smiled in fond remembrance. I measured myself multiple times to make sure I could order the correct size. It wasn't as if I'd be able to ship it back if there were problems. Honestly, me too. If there's a size guide, I'm measuring to make sure. But, to make a long story short, it arrived in one piece multiple months later. At that point, I wasn't going to complain. It was a physical object in my hands. He gestured with his arm for emphasis. As he did, Baxter glanced at his wrist, at a watch that wasn't there. Anyway, I hope I'm not taking too much of your time with this. You had a few chores to do, but you were generally free. You weren't worried about it and shook your head. Baxter eased back and returned to chatting. The two of you meandered around the neighborhood, aimlessly walking as you talked. I saw Cove earlier. He was on his way to work, from what I gathered in a brief chat and from how he was dressed. Yeah, he's working at the old library as an assistant. Oh my god, nerd! It fits him. He's lucky he found such a nice gig in this town. Cove likes having his mornings and early afternoons free, so he always takes the later shifts. Since you are free, perhaps we could do better than standing here. I'd be delighted to invite you over to my condo to chat more comfortably. Baxter's condo? You lived on this street your entire life, but had never actually been inside. You were curious about it. Sure. But I'll need to leave before this evening. I have plans to visit Cove at his work, too. Of course, I wouldn't presume to keep you. He made a grand, sweeping gesture directed at his place and led the short walk over. You followed beside him, stopping when you reached his front door. He opened it for you and welcomed you inside. It was a familiar threshold from your childhood. You couldn't help having a slight shiver up your spine as you thought about the condo's previous residents. I was just mostly excited to see the inside. Okay. Alright. Weirdly beachy, which I wasn't expecting. But okay. I want to know what's up with the tree. What's going on there? You took a quick breath as you cautiously stepped into the condo. The first thing you noticed was just how unexpectedly nice and sleek it was. It was also clean and smelled faintly like some sort of unidentifiable air freshener. You had to wonder how much of this was due to whoever rented it out, the former residents, or the current one. Regardless of the pleasant presentation, you were on edge. You couldn't help but stay on guard, as if mean, not grandparents might jump out to yell at you at any moment. Baxter noticed something of your discomfort and raised an eyebrow. Is everything alright? I've never seen the inside of this condo. Oh? He seemed genuinely surprised. The former neighbors never had you over for tea? Sounds out of character for this street. They were kind of bitches. He laughed as the thought of the prior visitors willingly being in the same space as you. Definitely not. This was the mean old people's house. They weren't exactly nice to kids. They'd be appalled to know I was in here. Wow. This is amazing. Can't believe I'm actually inside. Baxter's smile was curled as he ushered you the rest of the way inside and closed his door. I'd like to hear more about this. Sounds like there's a story there. He sat on his sofa, first sitting properly before readjusting his position to a comfortably forward crouch. He waved his hand towards his furniture, an invitation to take your seat. to take a seat yourself. Honestly, my first thought was chair. So, chair. It was more comfortable than it looked. So, you want to hear about the mean not grandparents? My ears are open. You began to give him the rundown of your past neighbors, explaining how they didn't like children and had a reputation among you and the other kids for being nasty. I wish I had more exciting stories. Honestly, I think the most memorable thing I did was when I almost ding-dong ditched them. My sister Lizzie wanted me to do it, but I didn't. But neither did she, so it's fair. Baxter chuckled at your non-prank story. Sounds like you do. Really. The two of you continued to chat until the sun started hanging lower in the sky. It could be seen falling through his large windows. You stood up when it was time to go, and Baxter led you to the door. I think I'm actually going on an outing to town myself. A good night for exploring. You nodded as you stepped outside. You left without looking back. Okay. Thank you for having me over. Goodbye, Kit. You parted in good spirits and walked off. You entered your own house and got yourself ready to visit Cove. You were definitely looking forward to seeing him. I like that was like 5 seconds of Baxter, and anyway, back to Cove. Okay. Lately, Cove had been working more often. You rarely saw him during his shift for obvious reasons. He was busy. That was why it had been a surprise when Cove asked you to swing by, okay? Maybe Cove was also thinking about how much his job had impacted how often you saw each other. Luckily, his place of employment was within walking distance. You wouldn't have to worry about getting a ride. The air felt heated around you, but with enough of a breeze to cool you off. You strolled past familiar buildings, not even having to think about how to get to Cove's job. You had gone down these streets more than enough times to memorize the way. It was easy to just enjoy the brief trip. Soon enough, you reached the local library parking lot. You headed right inside. Immediately after opening the door, you smelled the warm, solid smell of books. A bit stuffy, but it was a nostalgic feeling. Your eyes scanned the front room for a certain tall, green-haired assistant. You spotted him easily at a desk. Okay. Lanyard? Okay. He didn't seem too busy. No one else was around. You stepped closer. He instinctively looked up from a stack of papers at the sound of someone approaching. Cove met your eyes with a welcome smile when he realized who it was. Hi, Kit. Thanks for coming. Of course. How's it going? Making good money? Cove laughed quietly, his eyes alight past amusement. You should have seen it. When I just got here earlier, there was a huge fight going on with the schedule. I just tried to stay out of it. I'm lucky no one else wants to close. It's not something I've got to defend. Some shifts are way too competitive. He shook his head at the memory. He wondered how the shifts had been sorted out in the end. He didn't bother to elaborate further on his workplace drama. Anyways, yeah, it's fine. That was the most exciting today got. Good thing you weren't dragged into that problem. Cove nodded in immediate agreement. I don't think I could handle it. You know me. He pressed his lips together at the thought. He sighed. I really don't want to start making a scene at work. Oh. Cove's eyes grew wide and then drifted off. His mind was clearly elsewhere. Speaking of work, I gotta get back to it. That's what I'm doing right now. He laughed at how easily your presence made him forget the situation at hand. Take a seat or wander around a little. Try not to disappear, though. I won't be too long. I just have a couple of things I need to take care of. He gave a significant look at the papers he had been sorting through before he had noticed you. No problem. I can be alone for a few minutes. Oh, let's check out the YA section, for sure. There were many fantasy novels, mixed in with contemporary fiction. Hold on. There's not a fantasy section, so I was like, hold on, I could have gotten fantasy? Sometimes while you were browsing, you would run into an older title that had once been in the children's section when you were little. Conversely, some books sounded more adult than others. As promised, Cove swung by again. He stood up straight, the task that had been at hand completed. Your little lanyard even says your name on it. That's cute. Okay. As you had a moment together, you struck up a conversation. The two middle ones. So, do people hit on you a lot while you're working? And then just also, I could do it. I don't know. None of these. What's it like? Tell me some stories. He looked around and shrugged. I mean, it's a job. I can't exactly expect it to be amazing. It's fine. You hummed in agreement, and he continued. His face shifted into a look of mild annoyance. I get a lot of comments on my eyebrows, a lot of people asking if Cove is my real name, and also people who don't even ask. They just launched into some tirade about how important it is for visitors to know the real names of those who are assisting them, and it's so unprofessional of me. How I better not be expecting them to actually call me something so silly, and, well, you can imagine the rest. He gestured around at your surroundings with bewilderment. After all the years of knowing him, you'd forgotten that for most people, the word Cove was not a name human beings have. It's kind of funny to think about. Still, you shook your head at the sheer rudeness of it all. Even if it was uncommon, it's not their place to insist it's fake. People better stop giving you problems. If I see any of that, I'm gonna have to have a word with them. Don't, please. Cove looked away, but you could tell he was grateful for your support. A small smile crept onto his lips. Thanks. Did I ever tell you about the person who tried to donate a giant bear figure? And I mean giants. It was something used in their own store, but eventually they didn't need it anymore. He told you about a few of the more fun visitors who had balanced out the terrible ones. It was fun. Oh, actually, you were suddenly reminded of your afternoon adventure at Baxter's place. Remember the mean not grandparents? I saw the inside of their house. Really? He looked amazed, like he was just barely containing himself from peppering you with questions. Suddenly, a thought hit him like a brick. Wait. He settled down immediately. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. The new person staying there is really, welcoming. You overheard someone sounding frustrated as they couldn't find a specific book. Cove turned his head towards them without pause, his customer service smile already on his face. He gave you a quick nod and then headed over, disappearing into the labyrinth of shelves. It's a shame your conversations were so brief, but what else could you expect when he was on the clock? Seeing Cove acting so mature was different. He was like a real adult and giving service with a grin. At least when he remembered he was supposed to be working. You found it hard to believe his crybaby self had come so far. I guess I'm proud of him. It was nice to see him growing up. He had changed a lot over the years, and you were happy to see how much he had matured. You decided to walk around the shelves a little and explore. Every so often, listen, if I'm in a library, I'm picking up 10 books, okay? And that's not like a random number. I'm picking up 10 books. I don't know what you're talking about. Explore. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Every so often, you'd see Cove. He'd be reshelving books or helping people find what they needed. He was good at it, always calm and quiet enough for the library. He took small moments to talk with you every so often or smile in your direction. Eventually, it seemed like it was time for some kind of book club. The library lobby flooded with people, all clutching their copies of what you guessed was a satirical fantasy book. Cove got busier himself, pulling out chairs and arranging the area. I don't know why I wanted to say arena. He made the call that it was time to head out since he'd have to be occupied for a while with all that. He glanced over at you while he nudged a fake plant over to make room for another chair. You waved at him from near the front entrance. You He frowned, but then switched right back to a smile. He gave a quick wave before turning back to the book club event. I grinned a little right then. You felt buoyed to see Cove for a little bit. Wordlessly, you ambled back outside into the parking lot. The evening sun was warm on your skin while you were taking the trip back home. You heard the quiet jingle of your phone and stopped on the sidewalk. You then pulled it out to check. It was from Mom. Would you mind stopping by the grocery store on your way home to pick up some asparagus and peppers for dinner tomorrow? Can't make it myself. Deadlines are tight right now. Thank you and have a great day. Okay. You didn't mind the request. Okay, there went my phone again. Could have been a lot worse. Asparagus and peppers. That was going to be a quick in and out. Easy peasy. You answered back, no problem. Can do. Honestly, if I got that, I would answer back no and then do it anyway. But you weren't expecting her to text back anytime soon, though you did already get a thanks for it. Your phone remained grasped in your hand as you grew lost in your thoughts. Everyone was busy working nowadays. The only other person who wasn't was Liz, and you had no idea how long before that changed. Oh boy. So many of these. You were terrified that one day it'd be up to yourself to support yourself, for sure. But also a little you were curious about what working full-time would be like. But also I don't know. You were aiming to make it without working a typical job, let's be real. I guess this is the most me. There were plenty of other options out there for your future besides getting a position at a company. It was wonderful that your mom's never forced you to go down that route. You were free to find your own way in the world. I'm not 100% sure that you are on the same page as me with that, but okay. You were still inside of your head when another message came through. Looking at your phone, you saw that it was Cove this time. Can we hang out again? Yes, you literally live across the street. Come over anytime. After I close at work this time. I could come to your house or something. Yeah. A fond smile tugged at the corner of your mouth when the next message arrived immediately. Awesome, thanks. You were struck with the idea as your fingers hovered to reply. You already agreed to run by the store today. You could meet Cove in town. Actually, I'll meet you at work when you're done. I have to stay out running an errand anyways. Cool. I'll be here, obviously. See you later. Smiley face. You finally put your phone away. You realized then that you may not have enough time to get to the store and back before Cove was off. You'd need to return to the library first. But what was done was done. To fill the little gap of space in between your new plans, you decided to... I mean, this would be cute, but also... he has things to do. I want to see what happens. There was always a chance that he wouldn't respond until later, but he already messaged you before. It could be okay to keep going. You found a way to change the subject and waited to see what he'd do. Delighted, the jingling in your hand signaled he took the bait. You carefully continued to walk down the path, and glued to your phone and a happy pep in your step, and then I ran into a lamppost or something. Cove texted you as frequently as you imagined he could while still on the clock, telling you all about the various people he had to interact with today. Before long, the first part of the night was over, and it was nearing the end of Cove's shift. Luckily, you were almost back by then. As you approached the library building, you noticed a figure out front. Gee, I wonder who. It was Cove. His silhouette was instantly recognizable to you, even in the dim light of the parking lot. You could see he was smiling eagerly as you got closer. He had been waiting for this. Hi! Your hand lifted up mid-torso height, and you shimmied it side to side. What a weird... Oh, mid-torso, so it's like down here. And you shimmied it. What? Okay. We meet again, I Kit. His initial excitement at your arrival deflated quickly. Okay. Cove stopped being able to meet your eyes as he spoke more. I'm sorry for earlier when you were visiting. It wasn't very exciting, was it? Are you kidding me? I got to go to the library. I hope I wasn't wasting your time. It is never a waste to see you. Oh. Don't make a big deal out of that. His smile reemerged, though only slightly. Then he continued his thought. It's just with all the shifts I've been doing lately, I wanted to have you around some more. That's really all. It was to make my day better. But it's not like working has to be a good time, and there's better things you could have been doing than watching me do stuff at a distance. Yeah. He grinned easily. He felt proud you were the one he called when he needed someone to lift his spirits. Cove flushed as he beamed openly at him. I'm glad my job doesn't have to get in the way of us being together. It's the library, Cove. I'd be there 24/7 if I could. Sorry, did you get embarrassed at that? After the words fell out, Cove rushed to redo whatever he had just said. In the way of spending a time together. That's what I meant. I feel the same way. Thanks. Works out then. What was the errand you talked about before? Are you still doing that? Yeah. You should come with me. It was late and you knew that Cove wanted to go home, but admittedly you wanted company. He eased that concern by smiling softly. Sure, yeah, I can go shopping with you. You walked, right? No, Cove, I took the Lamborghini. Want me to drive you? Yeah, that would make things a lot easier. No, leave your car here, we'll walk to the store, to home, and then you have to pick up your car later. No problem. It's nice of you to do this. Not really, I like spending time with you. Thanks. I like that too. Moments later, Cove had his things together and you were both ready to swing by the store. Cove pulled into one of the many free parking spots at the neighborhood 24-hour grocery store. Car doors were popped open and you got out at the same time. There's a salty smell in the air as the two of you strolled through the dim parking lot. The local burger joint on the other side of the pavement guaranteed the place always smelled like fries. Amazing. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. We're in an actual store. We can get popcorn and chips that are called French fries, but those look like chips. And they are flavored like peppers. Okay. Your eyes squinted at the change of lighting when you made it inside the building. The automatic doors shut behind you. With you truly having arrived, Cove raised his eyebrow curiously. So, what are we here for again? Asparagus and peppers. It's for something my moms are making tomorrow. Sounds good. This will be a short trip. You idly scanned the front room for a basket you could use. A full cart wasn't necessary. It's 2 items. You have 2 hands. That's all there was to it. I don't know. This was a simple stop that you weren't thinking much about. You spotted the baskets and caught a glimpse of Cove's full appearance while looking down to pick one up. It's kind of weird to see you dressed in a uniform in a different store. Cove snickered while sidling up beside you. Right? It's like I'm wearing a costume after Halloween is over. But I just hope no one thinks I work here. The uniform is totally different, but you never know. Basket in hand, you ambled towards the vegetable section. It was set near the back, but visible right from the entrance. Cove matched your pace, keeping at your side. The asparagus was simple enough to select. You simply picked up a bundle that looked fresh. All that was left was the peppers. There was a wrinkle in that plan. What color did they want? She didn't say. And what are we gonna do? The color definitely matters. I don't think it does. Does it? I'm imagining like it's specifically bell peppers, but it could be like, I don't know, what kind of peppers are you asking me to pick up? Don't give me anxiety over this. I don't think it matters. He tossed a few of the closest peppers in the basket. Mission accomplished. Cove laughed at your blatant vegetable indifference. Produce acquired, all that was left was to go through the line, but as you approached the cash registers, Cove stopped in his tracks. Oh, while we're here, I want to get something too. I need fruit for breakfast tomorrow. But what should I have? Oranges. He glanced back unsurely at the section you just left. Oranges. I can go back to look with you. That coaxed a small smile from Cove. His tension eased. Thanks, Kit, and sorry. It's fine, we can take a little more time to do this. Cove gratefully led you back to the fruit stands. He let his eyes wander across all the options, seriously contemplating or considering his decision. Not bothering to rush, you walked up and down the produce aisle for the second time that trip. Finally, something caught his attention. Transparent cases containing fresh blueberries. Those are good, okay. Cove grinned. That's it. They'll be perfect for tomorrow. Great. I don't think those are fruit, but acceptable. Blueberries are good. Despite the suddenness of how it happened, you were genuinely glad Cove was able to get something nice for himself during the visit to the store. It made the trip even more worthwhile. Cove carried his food himself, and the two of you went back to get a spot in line. After that, you completed separate orders for what you were getting. The produce was packed away into paper bags. There was one for you and one for Cove. You both had what you needed in hand. The errand was finished. You walked across the length of the store to reach the doors closest to where you had parked. You and Cove stepped back into the night. Cove quietly swung his bag back and forth in his grip as he peered squinting into the dark parking lot. He smiled slightly, a gentle expression on his lips. Thanks for inviting me to the grocery store. Yeah, it's so fun. Thank you for keeping me company. You're welcome. We should do this again. Go grocery shopping? After a moment of walking further into the parking lot, he sighed mildly. As nice as Cove was about this, he had to be tired after working a full shift. It's been a long day. Yeah. A very brief exchange really summed it up. Cove shook his head to himself, amusement replacing his worn-down expression. When did a busy day go from having way too many ways we wanted to play or having some extra homework to having to spend all day at a job and then running errands after? When we became grown-ups. This is the true adult experience? Working, buying food, and then squeezing in human interaction while you're doing other productive stuff? Well, I guess kid me did always think older people spent their lives at their jobs. Guess I was right all along. He laughed, and you had to agree. Cove's eyes narrowed as his mouth opened slightly. He was having a thought. Oh boy. Oh no. A thought? Your moms need this stuff for tomorrow's dinner, not tonight, right? Uh-huh. And nothing's frozen, so you don't need to get it home urgently or anything. Do you want to go across the parking lot to that fast food place? We could get something. You know it's still open, doesn't matter how late it is. It might be nice. You perked up at the suggestion. Sounded like fun. You started speed walking towards it. Cove had to jog after you until he caught up. He chuckled and then raised his bag of groceries. Maybe we should deal with these first. Oh, right. Let's drop the groceries off, then we can go. You agreed, and Cove strolled over to the cars, buoyed by the thought of something to look forward to. He placed his bag in the back of his car and then let you store yours inside as well. With the groceries taken care of, it was a short walk to the burger joint. There were 3 cars lined up in the drive-thru, which wasn't too bad. Okay, you could get 20%. And free burger. Or chicken patty? I don't know. You can get a lot of stuff free here. Free donuts, free fries, free burger with lettuce, free donuts again. Off watermelon? They have good deals here. You had to go all the way around the building to get into the front entrance, but soon you were under another set of bright fluorescent lights. Luckily, there was no line inside the building, so you stepped right up to the counter. You glanced over the menu. You remembered eating here before with Cove, back when Kyra had taken you both years ago. The menu looked pretty much the same from what you could remember. It was missing the mozzarella sticks, but most of the other items were familiar. Hello, what would you like to order? Yes, hello. I would like one of everything. One of everything on your dessert menu. I'm between you burst out laughing and you gave him an "Are you serious" look. I guess laugh. He brushed a hand against the back of his head in his polite smile for the employee vent. Mom rubbed off on me. He was reminiscing on that visit too. After the cashier made sure Cove was being serious, it was your time to order. You got fries. I could get more things. Oh, what's on the menu actually? Burger, veggie burger, sandwich, onion ring, salad, nuggets, jalapeno poppers, soda, milkshake, sundae, chocolate chip cookie, apple pie, that's all. Honestly, we walked in here and my first thought was nuggets, fries, soda. I am a creature of comfort. Cove gave you a little thumbs up. He wasn't the only one indulging. That is not indulging, Cove. You got everything on the dessert menu. I got a normal meal. You wrapped up the ordering process, paid, got the number 264, then claimed a table. You sat down across from Cove in a booth where you had a good view of the front counter. It was nice to have the pick of the place. I'm not worried you're gonna finish all of that. Yeah, sure. You eat so much. You joked with a smile on your face. Yeah, well, I can't not do it now. I have a reputation. He tilted his chin, taking it as a light challenge. Then you took out your phone to text your moms about your delay home. You didn't want them to worry. Cove watched you before pulling out his phone as well, maybe for the same reason you did. When the updates were sent, it was back to just being you and your neighbor once more. He offered you a small smile. I missed you, you know. Even if you weren't really ever gone, it's been less time than I'm accustomed to. Cove tapped his fists on the table definitively. He paired that action with a childish pout. If someone saw him like that, they might have assumed he was throwing a fit over not getting the toy that comes with a kid's meal. We demand more time with each other. You dropped your palms onto the tabletop for added emphasis. Exactly. He beamed at you sincerely, a ray of sunshine in this late-night food trip. When the number was called, Cove hopped up from his seat before you could react. I've got it. Save her spot. Not like anybody else is gonna come in. But yeah. Sure. You stayed in the booth and got situated for the arrival of all the stuff. You checked over the table and moved your phone to the side to make sure there was a clear space. Cove returned with 2 trays in hand, a great bounty of food. He placed them down carefully, being extra cautious with a tray that held his milkshake. I'm back. Thanks. I appreciate having a nice sit-down restaurant experience. It's no problem. Huh? I get a CG for this? I get a CG for this? I wasn't expecting a CG. Okay. Also, that's not as many desserts as I imagined. 3? You're good. Okay, just kidding. There's a cookie in there somewhere. Cove didn't hesitate before digging in. He took a large bite of his cookie and immediately sipped his milkshake. Then wow, the milkshake went down! He put the milkshake down! Then he took a spoon and sampled his sundae with an approving hum. He made an attempt to follow that up with a bite of his apple pie as well, but bailed with a distressed look on his face. You tilted your head in a silent question. I think apple pie and sundae would go well together. Hot. Yeah, the sundae would cool it down. He switched back to the milkshake, taking a dedicated slurp. Cove sighed at the cool relief it brought. You also started to taste yours. It really wasn't bad. In only a minute, Cove's cookie was gone. You wouldn't be surprised if the milkshake wasn't far behind. Oh, 100%. You flicked a straw wrapper at him. You found the paper discarded from the straw Cove used for his milkshake. You squished it into a little ball while he was distracted and then very deliberately launched it at Cove. Your aim was true. It hit him square in the nose. Nice. He didn't even flinch. Too used to your violent straw wrapper ways. That's my dream right there. He casually reached down with his free hand and tossed the paper ball back at you. You sputtered when it hit you on top of your head and bounced away. You scrabbled to grab it from where it fell on your booth and threw it back at him. He chuckled and lobbed the tiny ball in a return pass. You felt so glad Cove agreed to come along with you on the initial grocery trip, and equally happy you accepted his invitation here. A little time off your feet, a little something to eat, you felt more energized than before. You continued to chat, mess around, laugh, and enjoy yourselves. For the first time that night, you felt like you weren't totally grown up after all. Interesting. I wasn't expecting it to be like like that, I guess. And we have some time. Do you want to do serendipity? I think we have time for serendipity. Maybe. We did not, in fact, have time for serendipity. Listen, we might have if serendipity was not the longest moment in this game. Serendipity itself is an hour and a half long. Okay? That's too much to put into this episode. Let me just tell you that. So I'm going to end this episode here, split what I had recorded into 2 parts again, as I did fairly recently, not too long ago. Because listen, you do not want a 2-hour-long episode. You simply do not want it. But I do hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching it. And I will see you next time for Serendipity.